Hi again, and welcome to the Stimulate Your Relationship show, where nothing is taboo and nothing is off limits for helping you to stimulate, excite, and light up your intimate relationship. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Zev Halpern. Stimulating your relationship can mean initiating a walk where you stroll holding hands. It could be really listening to what your partner's saying, or it could be trying to find a way to invite your partner to the big event. I think you know what I mean. I've found when you stimulate your relationship in all kinds of positive ways, your net result is a stimulated, happier, more productive life. So let's get to it. We have an exciting show tonight. Our guest is Nicole Campbell, CEO of Let's Stay Together, and we're going to talk about dating and getting dates. We always value your point of view, so let us know what's on your mind and what relationship areas you want us to focus on. Send your comments directly to zev@stimulateyourrelationship.com. Please take this time to think about ways you can stimulate your own relationship. So sit back, chillax, open your hearts and minds, and consider some ways you can enhance your relationship. Here's today's Rev with Zev moment. So I was out in Carlsbad, California, and co-facilitated a workshop called Unlimited Stimulation with Sylver, world-famous hypnotist. We had a blast doing this. The event took place at the newly refurbished Certainty Theater in Carlsbad, California. The program was a huge success, with couples and some singles learning ways to have more excitement and pleasure in their relationships. As per my philosophy, this was a no-holds-barred, nothing is taboo, or off-limits event. We covered a lot of relationship territory, adults only, and found out that while each relationship is unique, they share many similar lows and highs. Many couples had big breakthroughs that moved them to more mutually satisfied places, and one even had a long-awaited marriage proposal, which happened right in front of my face, falling on his knee and asking for her hand, which he had been wishing for a long time. It was something to see. Many were eager to try out the many new ideas and tools and toys that were discussed at the event. Between the beauty of idyllic Carlsbad, California, with gorgeous sunsets, the help and info couples received, and bonding of event participants, it turned out to be a huge success. Here's my takeaway from this amazing event. While I thought that only struggling couples would seek out this event, in fact, that absolutely wasn't the case. Many healthy and happy couples attended, looking for ways to take their relationship to an even more intimate and mutually satisfying place. They wanted more from life. Look for more events like Unlimited Stimulation here in the Baltimore, Washington area and up and down the East Coast. Look forward to seeing you at one. It might be the best thing you do for your relationship, and you're sure to have fun, interaction, and a unique time. Take a look at this, and we'll be right back to introduce you to tonight's guest.
Scrivo quest'ultima canzone solo per ricordarti, partita.
Welcome back. I invite you to log on to my website, StimulateYourRelationship.com, check out my digital courses, and join my list so you can continue to receive helpful ideas to keep it romantic and stimulated. You won't be disappointed. And now, let's meet tonight's guest. Nicole Campbell, owner of Let's Stay Together, was born and raised in Florida. After living in Atlanta for 5 years after graduating high school, she moved to Virginia in July 2000, where she lives with her wonderful husband and adult kids. After taking her husband on a special date, Nicole had an epiphany for her business, Let's Stay Together. Since then, she's made it her business to help couples keep the torch burning in their relationships and marriages by planning fun and bonding date nights and events. She recently became an ordained minister to perform wedding ceremonies. She married her first couple in September 2018. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you.
Just people are looking for things to do. Obviously, you know, whether we're in it or not, they're just not putting it on the calendar, or they're just not creative enough, or don't think they're creative enough. They're certainly creative enough to come up with it, but time, stress, and the routine prevents them from doing it. So you tell us about this epiphany that you had.
So I decided to take my husband out on a date night. We actually went to Bethesda Blues and Jazz. We have never gone to this venue before. We sat at a table with other couples, and all of us were in different points in our lives. So we all, you know, all the couples, we talked together. You know, we discussed how we ended up at the Bethesda Blues and Jazz that evening. And it was all for different reasons. I decided I wanted to do something different. My husband shouldn't have to plan all the date nights. I can plan them as well. So, and then there was another couple. They had 4 or 5 kids at home, and the guy was like, "I need to take my wife out to get her away from the kids." And then it was an older couple.
What a charitable thing.
I know, right? And there was an older couple who had kids that were in college, and you could tell they were trying, the husband was definitely trying to keep that torch lit in their relationship. So we decided to do something different, and we all ended up at Bethesda Blues and Jazz. So after we left, I realized I didn't want to be Facebook friends, I didn't want to be in their everyday life, but it would be great to have a place that couples can go and hang out together. So from there, I talked my husband's ear off about this idea. And he agreed. He was like, there's things out there for singles, but there's nothing out there for married couples. And we've hung around different couples where some that were not so happy, and you realize some of the disrespectful things they were doing in their relationship, that we don't want that in our relationship.
And it spills out from the house.
Yes.
That's when you know, it goes on in the house, but then they go to a venue, and you could cringe.
Exactly.
But, you know, it is what it is.
And then we've been around couples that that have very healthy relationships, and you can kind of pick out some of those things and put into your relationship to make sure, you know, you have a healthy relationship as well. So I talked his ear off, and my first idea was to do group date nights where I would put together an event. All couples can come, you mingle, and with those group date nights, I always try to put some type of a tool or exercise in there that they can take back with them. But most of my dates have actually been customized date nights, just for the couple alone.
So tell us how it works, the service. Someone calls you.
So basically, you reach out.
Hi, the husband or the wife, you know, we're bored. We're looking for just some date, or I'm looking for a date where I can, you know, get things heated up a little bit, you know, because I'm tired of the way things are going at home.
So you just reach out to me, tell me if it's a special occasion, if it's just because you need a weekend getaway. My first question is, what day do you want to go out? And once you give me your date, and then the next question is your budget, because I can spend money like the best of them.
If they're going to throw it down, you know, you can spend it.
Yes, I can. So, and my husband would agree. So with
this hotel room going to be the Hilton, you know, right? Or
right. But I'm a hotel snob, so I will not book you into a hotel that I would not spend the night in.
There you go.
So from there, I work on a couple ideas. I also ask questions. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? I want to know, do you have any dietary restrictions? I take all of that stuff into consideration. I come up with a couple ideas. I'll let you know which idea, like, as I'm planning, some of them get me really excited. I'm like, yes, I want to go on this date night. And I'll
Who's asking, usually, the wife or the husband? The man or the woman in the relationship?
I think I've had more men.
Really?
Mm-hmm. At this point in time, I've had more men. So I put it together. Once they let me know which option they've decided on, I start planning. I make all the reservations. I do all the planning. So the night of your event, the only thing you have to worry about is putting clothes on and going out and enjoying your significant other. If you go to a restaurant...
So they have to be closed events? Yeah.
I prefer those.
All right. Okay.
To date, I haven't had any that are not. And they go out and they're treated like they're VIP. You don't have to worry. There's not a check that's going to show up at your dinner table. That's already paid for and taken care of.
It's all smooth.
Exactly.
And seamless.
And what people don't know behind the scenes, I'm in touch with my vendors to make sure that everything goes smooth and seamless.
They happy? Like,
exactly.
Those people happy?
And it's amazing because a lot of people, once you tell them what you're doing and why you're doing it, they're happy to help out and make it a pleasant experience for the couple. So,
can you just give us one example of one?
I'm gonna try to. So I can tell you the one that was a little bit more of an interesting date night. I had a couple reach out. They wanted to stay either in a rail car or a tree house. And I'm thinking there's perfectly good Marriotts and Hiltons, but okay, if that's what you want.
So what they thinking, like they're doing the hobo thing, or they're doing the Tarzan thing? What's up with them?
They just wanted something different.
Kind of cool, right?
So I was able to book a rail car a couple hours away in Lexington, Virginia. And then I reached out to a restaurant there, and they had their reservations. So and then
it's a restaurant, but the rail car is a hotel. It's like
that's where they stay.
It's a sleeper.
Yes. So again, people are happy to help me. So I was able to ship some things there and have ready in the rail, and set up in the rail car for them.
You mean flowers, wine, things like that.
Yes.
Those kinds of.
And then I always try.
There's a lot of them. There's a long list.
And then at the restaurant, I had some things set up where there were flowers on the table once the couple arrived. And I was able to work with the restaurant. They had live music, and I was able to work their song. Was played. And what touched me about this one, when she came back to give me a review of what and how everything went, she was like, my husband was amazed. And I think anytime you can amaze a guy, I think it's easy to kind of wow women. But to amaze a guy, that really touched me, that he was like, is that our song? How did she do that? And I was like, yes, nailed it. So,
which, I mean, it just shows how important these things are to people, that the special things in their life.
Exactly.
That they, that meant something to them that they haven't thought about. Basically it taps their intimate memories.
And that is exactly what I try to do. I try to pull something from your history with this individual and bring it into the present, so you can now still build more memories off of something from your past.
It's really cool stuff.
Thank you.
So I really like the personalization. I think that's really something. Do you think that people, that when they talk to you, are they just looking for you to do it, to do it all? You can see that they just don't have a clue, and they do, or if they do, they're just blocked and they just can't figure it out.
Most of them, I think they just don't have the time to commit to planning something. And most people will do something as basic as going out to dinner. There's nothing wrong with going out to dinner, but if that's all you ever do, it can be a little boring. So you want to you could do dinner on a Thursday night just because. So I try my best to try to elevate that. And there's things that most people won't think of to put in place to make it a little bit, special. Things that amaze me are some of the husbands who are really, I hate to say it, that we kind of give guys a bad rap.
Absolutely.
But some of them are so particular about their wives, and they actually know a lot more than we think or we give them credit for. No, she won't like that. Don't do that. Yes, and they know the favorite color and the favorite flower, but they just don't know how to put it all together. Or if there's other options out there. Some people think if you plan a really good date night, you're going to spend tons of money. No, it just depends on the level and what it is that you want to do, that we can, work that out for you.
So they talk about the money right away. Budget is,
it is important.
just so you know where
Right.
you're going. I mean, while you're talking to them, if they're talking about some giant, having the genie pop out of the cake, someone's going to have to pay.
Exactly.
and, people like, crazy stuff, and they like romantic. Very cool. All right, well, look, we'll be right back. So what about the whole romance? When they come to you, they talk about romance. They talk about, I want this to be, romantic. Because sometimes there's a agenda.
Right.
And does that come out?
Some don't. I don't want to say people are lost when it comes to romance.
Yeah,
they don't know what to kind of include into
And nobody
it.
teaches us
Exactly.
that we do have the magic inside of us.
Right.
We just have to think it through. And the more you practice doing those kinds of things for the person that you love, the more things you create. But they think it's just a Don Juan. I'm not when they say to you, I'm not a very big romantic, you know that they're not, someone hasn't gotten to them and said, yes, you can be.
Exactly. It really takes, it's a very hard job because I want to be out of business. It's a very hard job. Some people don't have a clue to what to put in place to make it romantic. Basically,
I think lots of people.
Right. So, and that's my favorite part. I'm a big romantic person, so this gives me, it's not just a job, it's like a great time for me. I can be as creative as I want to be. I can put things in place that sometimes some things I put in place kind of shock me, like, wow, where did that idea come from? So it just depends on the couple.
Because you're getting more creative too.
Exactly, yes.
And knowing what can work and what can't, and
right.
and how things can go wrong.
And I can wake up from a dream at 2 o'clock in the morning and go, you know what, that's a great idea. And so once my brain gets to churning, that's a scary place.
This is way more, there are books, that tell you about dates. Here's some dates you can go on, 1,000 dates or whatever, but that's not the same as what you're
exactly
presenting. What would you say to someone, so, well, I can read a book, I can figure it out,
It is, but it's kind of nice. And the thing that I like about it, so I have a problem with doing surprises. I love surprising people in a good way. So even for that date, the person that calls and reaches out to me, they're surprised. There's things I put in place that they don't know that I'm going to do. So it brings that to them as well. And no one's tired because I had to do all the planning and all that great stuff. They're out there, they're enjoying their special someone, and they're getting a chance to relax and enjoy themselves.
So you ask them, if they want to do that? I mean, did you ask them that?
It depends on what it is. If it's like a nice little romantic surprise, no. Most people are happy about it. I do
so
ask.
You sneak some stuff in.
Yes.
Yeah, and you glean that from talking to them. You go, they can absorb this one. Because some people, as you know, surprises are,
right, but
out.
Yes, but it's nice little surprises.
Yeah.
And I do let them know that ahead of time, like, hey, I'm going to put some things in place that we haven't discussed, but it's nothing, I'll never do anything crazy, like way outlandish, but.
So date night was really conceived because of novelty, because a good date night versus a not good date night, or versus, a date night obligation. Which is probably the worst thing, that people experience, where people just, they go on date nights and I guess somebody enjoys it and somebody doesn't,
right.
because they haven't created something that's mutually satisfying, for them.
Exactly.
So, but novelty is about neural juices, and they get the neural juices in your head flowing, And you remember, hey, we were this before. We acted this way before. They haven't been that way,
Exactly.
for a long time. And that was the tree house.
So
they chose the rail car.
Yes, and they.
Who has the tree house? There's a bunch of them.
There are.
I've read about them.
There's a place that's out in I can't remember. It's
So?
called Primland, and they actually have a treehouse suite. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it looks over the Shenandoah.
Oh, my
So in the fall, it's a beautiful place to be. So they didn't do the treehouse. I'm not for sure if they'll come back to do and if they do, they probably will end up in a treehouse. But there's tons of treehouse. I didn't know that until I started looking, that there's a lot of different places between here and Pennsylvania that offer treehouse stays.
A lot of times, some husbands and wives, in relationships, they do things for their spouses, but it's not what they need. They do things, but it's not what the spouse really wants.
That's true.
Does that come out? In this process sometimes because you're saying they know the things that people like, and of course they do. They see colors and things like that, but there's those hidden things.
Right.
That haven't come out, where I encourage couples, ask,
Right.
what do you like? So maybe you have a chance of getting it, A lot of people don't ask.
So none of that's come back to me. I think most people are at a point where they don't get a chance to go out very often. A lot of the couples I've sent on date nights, they have kids. So I think just the fact that they're able to get out and to get away from their little ones, they're just excited about that. So I think the bar is kind of low, so it doesn't take much to exceed the mark.
And some of them come home and some of them stay out, right?
Yes.
According to the plan and how it goes, so things have to be arranged.
Exactly.
Right? So there's a lot of arranging.
Yes, a lot.
But in order to do something good, you have to do some planning. And unfortunately, a lot of people go out and they don't plan, and it ends up being the same thing, and they're not very happy about doing it. Have you ever had people, ask, again, how do I get the fire going? Like I want a date, I want you to deliver a date, that gets because I can't get it done. I just can't seem to light, his or her fire, and get it going again.
So,
Then you become the shrink planner.
I have had some couples like that, and I try to stay away from it because it's not my expertise. I can only tell you about my life lessons and what I've learned, and so it just depends. If they're friends, then of course they get my advice on
Right.
like things that have happened in my life and what worked for me and what didn't work for me. But no, it just depends on the couple. I don't dig too much. I let them, tell me what they want me to know. And at that point in time, it just, from whatever information they've given me, I go from there.
But they're not surprise dates. They're dates
No.
where the husband or the wife has said, I went to, somebody and I planned, this date, or we're going on a date, or we're going out.
So sometimes, I had a gentleman, my very first couple, it was a surprise. They were celebrating their 29th wedding anniversary, and he had never been able to surprise her in all those years. And I think he must have told her, like, honey, we're going out tonight. But she had no idea what was planned for them. So it was, and I waited patiently because you're like, oh, did they like it? Is everything okay? And I did actually hear back from her, and she said, thank you, Nicole, for that amazing date night that I went on. So later he was able to, expose that, no, honey, I didn't do this. I had to get help. And I give them that option. You can let me know if you want them to know that let's stay together, put this together for you. Or if you want to take all the credit, go right ahead, I don't care.
Did you choose that name from a song I know?
No.
It's a nice song.
It is.
It's a nice song. I just used it had a playlist for this event. And
So years ago, I watched a performance of Al Green, and that song played, and I actually fell in love with it.
yeah.
And I forgot all about it, didn't think about it again. And then when I came up with this idea, as we were driving and I was talking my husband's ear off, I said, it should be called Let's Stay Together. And I'm thinking again of all these couples that want to stay together. And it just built from there.
So the last thing, there's this thing called role nausea. And you said something about it when you first started talking, that your husband planned the dates, you know, that you came to this through realizing, hey, I want to step up and I want to do that. Role nausea is when there's only one person who does everything. And if they don't do it, nothing happens, and they get tired of it. And, you know, after a while, you know, it just gets to be, why do I have to do all this? Why does it always, you know, have to be me? And it's called role nausea, and you can understand why, because it's difficult. And you explained that, you know, really well. You know.
Thank you.
Did he express it to you? I mean, were you feeling it, or just he just was coming up with it, and you were going? I mean, he'd come up with ideas, right?
Yes, and
you're lucky to have that.
I am. He's an amazing guy, and that's why when I noticed this show, this artist was going to be performing, I'm like, why do I have to wait for him? I should be able to step up and switch roles and treat him sometimes. And I want women to understand that, or that other couple, that other person in a relationship, to understand it's okay to plan and treat that significant other. Do things that you want done for you, for your significant other.
Right.
So.
Seems like that would make sense. Well, Nicole, you've been a fantastic guest.
Thank you.
Really pleasurable, and know your stuff, and exciting to hear about couples getting things planned and just kind of like dropping them into this event and see what happens, and hopefully it works out for the best so your business grows.
Thank you.
And anyway, to find out more about Nicole Campbell, here's how to contact her. My consulting and coaching practice has allowed me the unique privilege and opportunity to work with a wide array of couples, both face-to-face in Maryland and virtually all over the world through my online relationship stimulation consulting practice. I invite you to find out more about how I can help you stimulate your relationship through my signature couples programs. Get in touch and let me help you transform your relationship into a truly stimulating and exciting adventure. Please check out all my social media platforms. I'm live on Facebook, and you'll find ways every day to stimulate your relationship into the enjoyable space it absolutely can be. We'll leave you tonight with a few ways to stimulate your relationship. Say, I like it, when your partner does anything that makes you feel special and sexy, and you will increase the chances of it occurring more often. When you hug, do it like you mean it. Run your hand down your partner's arm or back. Be a little frisky. Send a message. Finally, try asking yourself, what's right with your relationship, instead of focusing always on what's wrong. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Zev Halpern. See you next time for a jam-packed new episode of Stimulate Your Relationship.